Hey folks, it's MA. I thought it would be fun, maybe just for me, to take a look at all the decks that have come into my home in about the last 12 months, especially as someone who has stated I'm not really obtaining decks anymore. And yeah, rather than give any updates or talk about anything else, let's just go through them. I'm going to sort these into gems, regrets, and yeah, pretty good. And I will also say, I don't think most of these are not new releases. I've been doing some back catalog looking at bringing in decks. So there's an assortment of decks that I bought directly from creators, a few Kickstarters, one gift, and a few that I bought on, your standard bookseller sites, often because I convert credit card points into gift certificates rather than miles for travel or anything like that. So let's just dive in and see if I can stay on track. Okay, let's start with the gift. My sister sent me this one. It is called the Lazy Crow Tarot. I think she found it on Etsy from the creator. Despite the title and the beautiful box and card backs, don't think there's any crows in this deck, so I don't know if she thought it was a crow deck, but it's kind of a minimalist, softly colored, but still graphic, Smith Waite deck, and I haven't used it that much. It's a nice deck, so I'm going to put this one under. Yeah, it's pretty good if you like this art style. I believe it was on Etsy, and the creator's name is Nicholas Crago. So yeah, that was a little gift. My sister mails me things. I actually another deck I bought and don't have. I bought her the Grateful Dead Tarot and just shipped it directly to her. So another theme recently for me is I've been attracted to the wee little mini decks. And this will be a good assortment of gems and regrets. Oh, the other place I get decks, I am in the US, and Llewellyn frequently, many times a year, has a pretty discounted coupon sale off of anything, and that's where we sometimes pick up like Los Scarabeo decks and some other Llewellyn releases. So I got the Solusco Mini, which is quite small. And the card backs, not so great. I will say, even though it's pretty small, I can riffle it. It's a decent size. So here's the deal with this deck, and this will be the theme of most of my things that I categorize as regrets. This was an impulse buy. I don't know why I bought it. I really like the minors. The court cards are a little odd because they feature a person. You have to look at the guidebook. What I did not know, and I probably would not have gotten it, I didn't realize that all the majors were just some different kind of emperor with a Roman numeral hidden somewhere on the card. So I don't know that I would ever read with this, and I have it as more of just a historical, a little reference point or a little collecting thing to look at the pictures. So yeah, it was inexpensive, probably around $10 with the discount. So I guess regret, I don't need it in my collection is what I'm thinking. On a similar size and whatever, I got the Golden Art Nouveau Mini. Very similar, I like the size. I love the card backs. I think with this one, the art is a little busy for the size of the cards, but it's pretty good. I keep a rotation of decks in my bag to bring to the office because, yeah, that's something I do now as I read from my coworkers who randomly walk by. And yeah, so this one's in the rotation. It's pretty good. Again, I think for the size of the cards, it's a little busy. So I'm going to file this one under pretty good. Pretty good. Glad I have it. Again, with the discount, it was probably around $10 or $11. How can you go wrong? So there's that one. So then I have two tarot in a tins, the first time I bought these. The first one, the Barbara Walker. Now these are the US Games Tarot in a tin. And I will say, I love the size. I love good old US Games playing card type cardstock. Oh, that shuffle. It just reminds me of sitting around a table playing cards with my dad. I think this is one, the graphics plus the size of the cards is a good match. I think it reads fine. This deck is definitely a vibe. It is definitely a vibe, and it's a vibe that I'm feeling these days. Yeah, like I wouldn't mind cutting some heads off here and there. So I'm happy that I picked this one up. You know, it only has the little white guidebook. I wish there was a little more info. And you know, Barbara Walker. Wow, I didn't know. So I did pick up, I think it's the Dictionary of Women's like Symbols or something. Very interesting, but I didn't know she was also this like talented and like renowned, you know, needlework. I don't know, remember if it's knit or crochet, but like, you know, complete mastery of that, and has tons of books on that as well. So that's pretty cool. Very interesting person. So I'm putting this in the gems pile. Gem. Similar vein, I got the Centennial in a tin. The reason being, so my first deck is a universal weight that I trimmed everything off, titles and borders, edged it. It's scuffed up. I love it. I'm very bonded with that deck. And now it's something where I don't want other people messing with it. I use it personally. I use it for readings. It's the deck I bring to Omega with me. And so I feel like it's infused with enough kind of personal and communal magic. I don't want to like bring it to work or just risk losing it. So I got this as a stand-in. And I'm really happy with it. It's like the coloration is pretty nice and soft. I like the back. The size is great for me. It might be too small for some people, but I love it. And I'm glad I picked this one up. It's living in my bag for the last couple of months. So another one for the gems pile. And one more, Smithwaite Extravaganza. I picked up the Tarot Vintage, Los Garbeo. Love the backs on this one. Did I need this? No. The people in my study group have been using this deck, and so I picked up a copy, you know, when it was on discount, so that we could have times when we're all working with the exact same deck. I thought I was going to modify it and cut everything off. However, the dilemma I've run into, and the one thing I don't love about this deck, is the images have been kind of elongated, it looks like, to fit a taller cardstock. And so I'd have to do a little finessing to make sure, you know, I can't cut every card at the same spot, in other words. So I'm going to file this one under, it's okay. It's okay. And also, I'm not mad about it, because once in a while I will be in a situation where I'd like to have a few decks that I could just hand over to somebody and who's interested in tarot and doesn't have a deck, and I can just kind of hand off something that I own. So I'm going to keep that in that camp probably. So good, don't need it, but I have it. Next, oracles, mass market oracles. I did have some oracle cravings, and I bought a few with mixed results. The first one is this Botanical Inspirations deck and book set from US Games. It's something that's a little uncharacteristic for me, and honestly, that's kind of why I picked it up. Card backs, don't love the titles on the back, but that's okay. This is a pretty deck so it's got a kind of a vintage botanical illustration, some keywords, and then a quote. I find the quotes of varying sappiness and usefulness, but it's a very, very gentle deck. And sometimes lately, I just feel like that's a nice thing to have to throw onto a reading. So yeah, it's a nice size. It's a decent little deck. 44 cards with a book. So I would put this under, yeah, it's pretty good, pretty good. The next one, Rainbow Brain Skull. I think many people found out about this one when Simon at the Hermit's Cave had it. And I'm gonna file this one under gems. Now, do I use it with tarot readings? No, I do not. Here's the back. It reminds me a lot of the Morgan's Tarot, the old Morgan's Tarot from US Games from like 1971, but more colorful and a little more modernized. I love it. I use this kind of, this is like a little life coach deck for me. I keep it on my desk at home. It's when I kind of need to check in, you know, check myself, as they say. And yeah, I just think it's a fun deck. I'm not a fractured being, I'm multifaceted. Yeah, I guess I do stuff, but I don't feel like an actual thing yet. Yeah, so I think it's a nice, like, you know, I have not officially diagnosed ADHD tendencies, and I find that this is a really good deck for checking in with myself before I go too far off the rails. And I'm going to file this one under gems. This one also has a book that I don't really look at. And there are 72 cards, which is a nice chunky oracle, and it's not that expensive. It's mass market. So, gem. To be decided. I don't know why I got this. There's been some impulse shopping things with me, using up the store credits. This is a 50 card art oracles. Haven't really used it yet. Each card has an artist and a set of 3 different types of messages. I think one's a quote, a creative prompt, and something else. They're fine. There's a little tiny like stapled book that just tells you a little more about each artist. The cardstock is not great. The back is meh. But again, this is a really inexpensive deck of, I think, 50 cards. And my aspirational self says I'm going to use this in creative process readings, though my aspirational self has yet to do so. So I'm going to file this under, yeah, it's probably pretty good. Not really sure yet. Okay, next. Another impulse buy. Lucy Cavendish and Jake Badley, The Great Goddess Oracle. This is a regret, but it's totally my bad. And this is the thing with the regrets. They mostly have to do with my impulsiveness and lack of research. I saw this was a whatever, 42 or 40 card deck, and I thought that sounded great. I liked the couple of pictures I looked at. What I did not realize, and this is totally on my lack of research, is that there are half as many goddesses, and there are 2 cards for each of them. One card being the blessing and one card being the invocation. So I really like the looks of the cards. I think they're gorgeous. I think the thing for me is the deck from the guidebook, which is relatively chunky, is meant to be used in a very specific way, which is not necessarily the purpose I had in mind. So I'm not sure yet what to do with this. I regret that I didn't pay more attention. See, nice chunky book. So this one is totally on me. I don't really have anything bad to say about the deck, except I wish I had done my homework first, as I have preached many times. And, you know, some lessons you have to just keep reinforcing, or I have to keep reinforcing. Okay, now I had 3 Kickstarters come in. The first one, I think I showed this maybe when I went live or some other time, is the Magic Pantry Tarot from Cedar McLeod. But I'm going to show it again because I've worked with it, I've read with it, I've used it for daily pulls now. And here's the thing that kind of came to mind is that, you know, tarot is so full of symbolism, and some of them are these kind of universal symbols we're all meant to know. Some of them are symbols we carry in personally. Some of them are more esoteric and arcane that get revealed to us after years of study. But food, like, we all eat food. We all have food in our lives and history with food. So the deck, I think the choices Cedar made are rich with their version of the symbolism, but I think it's also a deck that, you know, a user or queerin or whoever will be carrying in lots of their own associations with. And in that way, I think it's a much richer deck than it appears on the surface. And the deck is also quite good and laid out in a really fun way. And I think this is a real gem. And also, and this is me, whenever I can support someone's hand-drawn, hand-painted, handmade in some way artwork over, I don't even want to say what other kind of products are out there, I am happy to do that. And this is available in Cedar Shop. And considering that a lot of mass market decks are now up, you know, I think I see like the up into $30, $35, $40 for mass market. To be able to go to a creator, I think this deck is $45 in their shop. You know, it's not that big a stretch anymore between some of the indie decks and some of the mass market. So if this appeals to you, I definitely encourage you to support their work. I am personally, I'm a fan and a completist. So absolute gem to me. The next one, I may have had this, or it was on its way the last time I made a video, Peculiar Pathways by Lennox Reese. Adore it. I mean, the quality of this, I don't remember if I got this from Kickstarter or bought it after. The quality of the box, this is some of the most gorgeous cardstock I have ever beheld. The backs are gorgeous, this subtle green edging, the images with the color like landscape backgrounds and the white kind of, you know, old-timey clip art is just really makes it pop. You know, is it a fully illustrated tarot? Is it a pip deck? I don't know. It seems like somewhere in between. The shuffle on this, I can't even. I mean, it's just that gorgeous, fluffy feeling. So I'm following this one under gem too. It's a overall, like the tactile experience and sensory experience of it is really wonderful. So yeah, gem. Okay, last Kickstarter is an Oracle, Cave of Sybil. This deck is very intense. You've probably seen walkthroughs. Honestly, this is one that stays in a quiet corner. And when I need it, I might pull one card, but it's not for everyday use for me. It's something, you know, when things are getting pretty intense and I really feel called to go deep with tarot and Oracle, this is something I might turn to. So the keywords are on the card backs and the images are Tierra Maze, you know, very intense analog collage and mixed media stuff. And I mean, this is a very, very, very specific deck. The vibe is very specific. For me, it has like kind of a niche use. So I'm gonna say when I reach for it and when I need it, it's a gem, but you know, it's limited use. It's definitely not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. So probably somewhere in the middle of the road, but I'm a big fan of Tierra's work. Okay, 3 more. These are decks I bought directly from creators with mixed results. And again, if I'm putting a deck in the regret pile, it's gonna be because of my failure for the most part. Okay, here's the first deck that I got from a creator off of their Etsy shop, the Dark Earth Oracle. I don't know, it's got multiple creators, so I'm not gonna read them off. Probably a lot of people have seen this. I think it was a Kickstarter. I purchased it after the Kickstarter campaign on their Etsy shop. Comes in and out of stock, I think, but it should be still available. I was drawn to the colors. I think it's cool looking. And therein lies the problem because I am not very cool. I was attracted. I thought the keywords, because they're a little different than a lot of oracles, and I do favor like a single word oracle situation. But what I'm finding is this deck and I are just not resonating. It's not really resonating with the kind of readings I do or the other decks that I'm using. So I may let it go. It's barely been used. It's a beautiful deck. I mean, the production is gorgeous. I mean, the colors, but I think we're just not meant to be together, and that happens sometimes. That just the book at the box with the yellow velvet ribbon. I mean, it's really nicely done, but I'm not sure that we're meant to hang out. So sadly enough, I guess it's again regrettable because of my regrets about myself and my process of obtaining things that I just should not have. Okay. Speaking of which, I don't even remember ordering this, but apparently I did. And that is the Hexen 2.0 Tarot. I don't know what I thought this was going to be. And I still don't know what it is. It is darn strange. It is very busy, which I thought I liked, but I didn't really understand the whole focus of it was this kind of tech conference. And I think it is just 100% not to me. And the fact that the Hermit card is the Unabomber is the deal killer. So I definitely regret my impulse shopping without further investigation of what I was getting myself into, and I will be letting that go in one way or another. So let's end on a high note, shall we? This is a deck I've had my eye on for years, and because I wasn't really prepared to deal with Thoth and learning new systems, I just kept in the corner of my eye. But I finally got the Tabum Tarot. I have been listening to the Fortune's Wheelhouse podcast with Emmeline and Susie Chang and really enjoying it. And it opened my brain enough to the Thoth system that I finally just went ahead and got this deck. And zero regrets, absolute gem. I am not attracted to the Lady Frida Harris deck. There are reasons that the art itself makes me a little nauseous. And on I've mentioned this before, but the majors, they call them something else, and they have that word in shadow behind the names of the cards for the majors, and I can't have that on a spiritual tool. It just does not work for me. So maybe someday I'll get a regular Thoth deck and cut all the titles and borders off and play with it and look at it a little more. But for now, this is really serving the purpose. And I'm going to file this like onto one of my most beautiful decks. I pull a card a day. I kind of, write down what I'm seeing, then I refer to the book and listen to the podcast. I am just really enjoying this dive. I've also never been pulled to the astrological aspects of the cards, and this is just a great doorway into layering that study on top of, the other work that I've done with tarot. And just beyond no regrets. I'm glad I waited, because I might have been frustrated had I gotten it too soon. But now is the time, and I am just absolutely delighted with this deck. I'm stunned every time I turn a card over, and I do recommend it. I recommend it if you're into this. And that's my wrap up. Oh, and I'm also, in my defense of, me saying I'm not getting more decks, I also want to mention that I gave away probably a dozen decks to a couple of my friends earlier. I have another box in my trunk with about 10 or 12 mass markets that I'm bringing up to put on the trade table because I'm going to Omega again. And overall, I think from the height of my tarot intake, I've given away probably about 45 decks. I have a handful that I will probably sell because they were more expensive indie decks, some of which are out of print. But other than that, I'm still net down in the collection, even though I ended up with 15 new decks that's over the course of 12 months. So that's where we stand. Thanks for watching. And I know I'm not that interactive or active here anymore, but I appreciate this community and happy to be popping in and out now and then to say hi. Take care, everybody.